Hello, and welcome back to the human side of AI. I'm your host, Flora. Today's guest was one of the most extraordinary origin stories I've ever had the privilege of hearing. Hence, the episode's a little longer than typical. She was born in a small Soviet republic between Azerbaijan and Iran, lost her father to the Afghanistan War at 4 years old, witnessed ethnic violence between her neighbors at 8, and was on the last plane out of Russia before everything changed, more than once. By 21, she had 2 engineering degrees, a scholarship to Boston, and a one-way ticket toward a life she was building entirely on her own terms. She went on to spend 20 years in the luxury lighting design industry across Paris, Moscow, and Europe, eventually starting her own company, filling 5 patents, and rebuilding an entire dev team single-handedly using Claude after 7 engineers walked out the door. She's now the CTO and a product lead of a construction tech startup with over 100,000 people on their wait list. Her name is Olesya, and I'm really hoping I'm saying it right, because she deserves it. And what she shares with us today about AI, about methods, about the window that's closing, and about what it actually takes to use this technology to build something real and lasting genuinely changed how I think about this work. This one is for every woman who's ever had to start from scratch. Let's get into it.
All right.
Yes. Okay, so short story about myself.
Let's hear it.
Yes, I am born in Azerbaijan, which is ex-USSR republic, and actually that's how all my life started to be absolutely a mess, because to be born in this place, which doesn't exist anymore because of the war after war after war after war, it's pushed me through the whole world, actually. And I had to move in Russia when I was 10 because of the war. And at 20, I left Russia to go to the United States because I won a prize to get additional education for my 2 degrees that I obtained by 21 in the United States. And I was paid MBA. I got to Boston. And actually, the whole story is like this, pushed by the difficulty of the society, of the world, of everything, but actually overcome each time, each one of them as a winner. This is, I see this as through the whole story of my life. So I was like, coming from nowhere, absolutely no like family pedigree or something like this, and I was just like pushing and pushing. Each time I pushed, I just pushed a little bit too fast, maybe compared to others, and it's got me to some completely other level. So I found myself in Boston, and after I found myself,
I want to slow down just a little bit because you just covered a lot. So you said you were born in Azerbaijan?
Azerbaijan, yes. It's in the, it's a little republic, and I was born in the small village between Azerbaijan and Iran, the one you have born now. So the place, which is like absolutely small village, because my father was military. And he was Soviet military, and he was stationed there. And when I was 4, he disappeared because of the Afghanistan war. And my mother had to raise me and my brother all alone. She was very young. They married, she was 19. So she had me as a second child. She was 23. And she had to raise in like another country, and there is no social security in Soviet Union. Actually, it didn't exist at all. It's not like this, no. So she had to work like 3 jobs and coming back at 1. We were all like,
wow.
So not to get some pity story, but something which is actually kind of the background, which I think helping me all other
of course
in my life, because
your background, your story.
Yes, the course of my mother, who by her example showed me and my brother, you work hard, you work hard, you get to the point when you succeed. And she is very entrepreneurial. I had my first job when I was 14, and my brother also was the same age, so we were very like positively competitive in my family and very entrepreneurial. So it's always just like build my way of thinking. And
so why was it from Azerbaijan to Russia? What made your mom
Because
adopt?
at the end of 80s, I was born in 80. At the end of 80s, there was a war between Azerbaijan and Armenia.
Oh,
And yes, and it was very violent. There was like a lot of people like caught by the knife on the streets, and Azerbaijan during the Soviet period was a very luxury place of Soviet Union. Why? Because it's very rich as a republic. It has oil, it has caviar, and so it's a very rich republic during the Soviet period. And lots of people were sent to the capital of Azerbaijan, Baku, during the Soviet period, like Rostropovich and all these very, very famous cultural people, because they were opposition to the Soviet regime, and they couldn't just shut them up, so they sent them there to Baku, the capital of Azerbaijan. So like this, they can have their life, but outside of the main capital of Soviet Union. And this created very rich multicultural city between Azeri, who are not Muslim, actually. Now they kind of, but the real culture is coming from Persia. They are more like Zoroastrians, they're drinking wine, their women are not well, very respectful for women, stuff like this. And there were lots of Armenians in the city of Baku, and lots of Russians and Jewish. So, and this was like very multicultural, very high education, very, very beautiful city with the history and stuff. But then when the Soviet Union was collapsing, there was this movement of separation, nationalism, and Azeri who were very, very negative. They wanted to take the land that they had in Armenia. And so they started to fight over the land, and it turned out very badly. And the worst part, because during the golden period, there was lots of family who were mixed, Armenian and Azeri, Russians and Armenian. They were so mixed, and there was so crazy stuff happening. And I was like, 9 years old girl. So like husbands were exchanging wives. So because I married Armenian, you married Azeri, let's just exchange wife and part our ways.
And kind of you're talking the 80s. That's not that long ago.
It's not that long ago. And so it's terrible stuff. And like in the school, lots of teachers were Armenians, because this kind of like culture of the female teachers, lots of teachers were Armenians. It's kind of like domestication between them. And students at school, like middle school, were beating their children, were beating their teachers who are Armenian, who were raising them and teaching them since they were 6-year-old boys. This kind of violence, absolutely horrible. So and we had to leave because a lot of Russian were also like kind of considered as a protector for Armenians inside Baku. And so we had to leave, and my mom was dating, actually she was fiance of the Armenian guy, who was a brilliant engineer in the space industry, and we had to leave. And first she shipped me and my brother to my grandparents, and we spent 1 year without my mother, trying to figure out what was going on. And actually, I had amnesia. I don't remember very much of this crazy stuff that happened there. I was so traumatized. I just erased 1 year of my life. And I remember this. I never saw the winter in Russia, because in Azerbaijan it's hot. And I remember this. I don't remember anything like several months before leaving, nothing, just zero, absolutely empty. And I remember we get out of the train, and it's a winter. And the first thing I remember, this what woke up my mind, is the beautiful tree on the train platform covered with ice, like this.
Winter
absolutely. Yes, winter wonderland, something that I never saw, absolutely beautiful, covered with ice, like huge, like 15 meters, like a Russian tree covered with ice, like sparkling under the lights of the, the train station. It's something that would wake up my brain. It's the first thing I remember during this period. And then, so so this is the reason we left Azerbaijan.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, I'm familiar with like the Cold War. I know about the wall coming down in Germany in the 80s, but that was obviously like not on my radar at all. And I imagine a lot of listeners don't know much about the history between Armenia and Azerbaijan too. And most importantly, it is a big part of your story. So thank you for taking the time to share that.
And because I think lots of your listeners are in the United States, actually this kind of war was induced with the help of United States, because it was kind of the way how United States, after the Cold War was almost done, they weakened USSR by implementing those separation and little wars inside USSR. So USSR was ripped from inside by those little, not so little, but the violent local wars.
Yeah.
It was one of the reasons. And everything is interconnected in this like world history after the World War II. So it was one of the strategy United States implemented. Afghanistan war, which is weakened very much United States, and helping separators and little local war to get started inside USSR, and this was absolutely like the final straw on the economic weakness that they have. I'm not blaming, so of course, United States, but it's interesting to understand that actually it's never stopped this kind of plays and games. And now when I see everything like this world politics and Putin with the horrible things he does and all this, like I was witnessing these games since I was a little child. I see through them like, oh my God, this is that. It's helping to really like keeping a check on reality, not to get into the rabbit hole of medias and all this, because one of the shocking thing I witnessed there. Between two houses, apartment complexes. On the roof, there were like Azeri guy who was shooting Armenians, and on the other roofs were like Armenian guys who were shooting Azeris. Okay, and then there was like zing zing zing, lunchtime. Okay, and they go down and they go to the local shop and they stay in the same line to buy cigarettes and food.
Crazy. And you know this before you were 10 years old?
Yes. It was like I was 8, 9, and by the 10 years old, I get already to my grandma. And
tell us about life in Russia. What was it like from 10 to 20 then?
So life in Russia was very adventurous. It was 90s, like like I arrived at 80. It is 90. Okay, I arrived. It's 90. It's 90 stuff. Absolutely crazy shit. Like the falling of USSR at 91. Okay. So what was like one revolution after another revolution. The previously prohibited entrepreneurship started to be allowed. My mother had the when you register a company, you have like the registration number. Okay, and my mother had a company. Registration number 1.
Wow.
In our region, they went to the special like city hall thing or tax thing to register the new company, private company. She had company number 1.
Crazy.
So and this is how it was, and it was like this, like it was roller coaster for 10 years. Like you started to do something. There is like hyperinflation. Then you get according to this, you get something like, okay, you sorted it out. We're gonna do this and this. Then there is another changing of government, and then there's like, oh my God, and we get so many times absolutely like wiped out to the zero and started again from scratch and starting over something new. So by the age of 20, I was absolutely like a veteran of all this thing, the revolutions and the financial really like crisis is like crazy. And you see all these people absolutely change. They were poor, now they're rich. And then before they were rich, now they're poor. And I've learned a lot. Very, very interesting moments. I remember my mother was very entrepreneurial. She had like, okay, we're going to sell this, we're going to buy this, etc. So we survived. I mean, like alone. Me and my brother and my mother, we survived. Everything is fine. And the region where we stayed with my grandparents, very industrial. It's like one of the industrial center of USSR, producing like motors for the ships, trains, stuff like this. So this is where I got very nice education, because the engineering education was very, very strong there, because 70,000 people in one city was working in one factory. Imagine this.
Wow.
This kind of sense, okay? So, and when everything collapsed, I witnessed it with my eyes. The people were like starving, nothing to eat, no money, economy stopped, no money circulating. Okay?
Yeah.
And people survived because they had little plot of lands and they could grow some foods and all the stuff. Some entrepreneurs like my mother, so we were fine. And what I saw with my eyes is that women, mothers of my classmates, my friends, my girlfriends, my friends, came to my mother sometimes, and they ask my mother to help to teach them how to be entrepreneurs.
Oh, beautiful. What a wonderful education.
Yes, and how to start, how I can help my family to survive. This was the housewives during the Soviet period, because their husbands were engineers in the big factory, big salary, everything was absolutely tip-top. And then several years, absolutely house, nothing to eat. Kids, how are we going to survive? They eat potato that we grow during the last summer and stuff like this. And I witnessed those exchanges, how my mom explained, and you go there, you get a little bit of money, you have a little, you have to start, you just you buy those paintings there, boxes full of paintings on this gross selling, and then you sell them here. Something which people really need every day, because they need to eat, they need to dress themselves, they need to buy toys for children or books for children. You start, and I witnessed those women who never been they were housewives, how they were flexible compared to the men.
Wow.
The men were absolutely stubborn, proud. I cannot move. I cannot change. I'm proud engineer. I'm proud director. And the children are starving, and the wives was I have to do something. I have to do that. And they went and this selling and buying stuff. What was happening? It's a very heavy job. The women had to heavy bags and they did it for the families. This was how I saw women are stronger and more flexible than men. Because when it's hit hard, they sit and they do nothing. They don't feel responsibility for their family, actually. And the women do.
So at this point, you really, you get this real world experience just watching these wars play out and all of these changes. And the one word that really, comes to mind here is resilience, right? You're truly taught resilience, and you're taught the power of being an entrepreneur before, almost before anything else, right? So talk to us. Okay, so you mentioned you at that point from Russia, you said at 20 you went to Boston, yeah?
Yes, 21.
21. Yeah. And you mentioned that was because of a scholarship. Talk to us a little bit about that path.
So in Russia, we normally we finish school early, and I was even earlier than this. At 16, I finished my high school with an honors, and I get to the university in our region, engineering university. I started my first degree in mechanical engineering and automation in production. So it was so it was very broad engineering faculty with a lot of IT.
Okay.
And when I was in my third year, in the same university, there was an economical department and another faculty, and they said that some students can actually apply to go there as well to get the second degree in parallel. So I spent day on engineering and evening on the economics and marketing faculty. So by the age of 21, I had 2 degrees.
Cool.
So both with honors. all this. And there was, it's just, at one time, actually, there's another lesson that I've learned. There are some chances. You need to take them. That's really lottery tickets. I was just like going from one faculty to another. And there was a guy standing in the corridor and said, oh, there are some Americans that are passing by. I know you speak English. Do you want to participate? There will just be some interviews. I'm like, oh, okay, I have nothing to do between day and the evening. I have half an hour to spare. So, this is how I found that there is a program from United States. They're going through university to university in Russia. They're interviewing some students or like almost graduate students. And it's a very big competition. And by the end, you can go to the United States. So they pay your MBA there. So I participated in this interview. There was 5,000 students interviewed. So, I mean, if you know, in Russia, very, very few students really speak English at that time who would participate in the interview. There was something like top of the students. So 5,000 students, then was a second round, 350. And then there was 27 finalists. We went to some woods campings. There was mostly like psychological filtering, mostly. Okay, you imagine 21, 22 years old boys and girls in the woods and the camping for 3 weeks. So with some foreigners talking about something that we never saw in our lives, it was kind of like survival and mental probably probing who can actually handle.
Yeah, but your life prepped you for this.
Yes, yes, and some crazy stuff happened. Like everybody's sleeping with everybody. Yes,
even if it's in the woods.
It was a fun story. We had even beer, like real beer, real beer is us. The camping, and because Americans like, oh, we're gonna have beer with us. So, and by the end of this, 6 of us went to United States. Everything paid. So I get this selection. When they say my name, I felt like I won an Oscar or something.
Yeah, you're proud.
And so I get to the United States, to Boston. I spent there a time in Berkeley College, and the program, what they needed young people to come to the United States and not to stay. Actually, it was very important because the purpose of the program was building the bridges between new Russia and United States to have new talents, build economical bridges between two countries. So they bring new talents, they give them education, they give them understand what America is, how does it work, how business works, but they need to come back to Russia to be this kind of start of the bridge. So I needed to say the program. Why do I go? What I'm gonna start, or what I'm gonna study? What I'm gonna do when I come back to Russia? And because I was working in my mom's lighting shop while I was doing my studies, I was like, lighting industry, like lighting design, doesn't exist here. So I'm gonna teach project management. I'm gonna learn project management, lighting design, and then I'm gonna come back and we're gonna make our family business more like successful. Okay. So except that I met French guy when I was in Boston and ended up in Paris after this.
Okay. So you landed in Paris after this.
Yes. And I landed in Paris after this. And it was another crazy story. He's young and young, absolutely like young love, student love. And in Paris, 2003, every young student or postgraduate is going through the 9 circles of entrepreneurship.
Okay.
You go, you have entrepreneurship free or like minimal, not even minimum wage, like minimum meals. So your parents still give you money to have food. And in our we got married because I needed papers to say so, and everyone loved anyway. We had 83 friends of his, like some members of my family, very few, and all of them were unemployed. So I arrived, very young, very, very bright students, unemployed. Entrepreneurship. This is how the French system works, because once you hire somebody, you cannot fire. This is social security system, okay? So before you hire somebody in France, you need to be absolutely sure, absolutely sure. Because to fire somebody is it's absolutely you pay so much money and so much trouble. So that's why everybody just gets so much soccer surface. I arrive, I don't speak one word of French. I get to evening school, in 3 months I get a job in the very, very famous agency who is doing lighting design for all the Chanel, Cartier, Dior, Musée du Louvre, and all this. All our 83 friends from wedding were absolutely how it's possible? How it's possible?
Well, why do you think it was? Why do you think it was possible?
I saw something very niche, I was marketing myself correctly. It was very niche. There are not enough engineers in French system in general, because education is built like this. And I arrive, I speak English, I'm engineer. I propose myself, I'm gonna do free for several months. And 3 months after I started to do free, there's no, you stop, and this is your contract. You get to the airplane, this is your project, then you start to do stuff. And so I was immediately seeing that if I go where everybody goes, I would have so much concurrence. But this was the place that was starving for people like me. And I was I'm just going to prove them I can do. Very flexibility, very hardworking. And I got immediately the contract, very nice paid job with travels and packages and stuff. And
so how long were you with them? With that company?
Yes, almost 5 years.
Okay.
No less. 4 years. Yeah, 4 years. And I traveled United States, lots of very famous projects, and Paris, all over the Europe. Some projects were in Asia, but my boss liked Asia so much, so he went always to the final, switch to turn on the switch. I want to go to Japan. I told you, no, I'm going to go, even if I did all the projects. Okay. So, and in 2007, we started to have lots of clients in Russia, oligarchs, building beautiful palaces and villas. They were inviting French architects with whom we work for the huge projects. A lot of boutiques started to really installed in Russia, in Moscow, we had projects for Baccarat with Stark, Chanel, and all this. And I was spending so much time in Russia because Russian speaking, and of course they sent me there. And after 1 year of spending so much time, and my husband was proposed to be expatriated to Russia as a Russian speaking. Now, then by that time he had a job, banker, and I was I came to my boss. By this time, I quickly became a second person in the company. And I told him, Stepan, I propose to you that we open the office.
Office, yeah.
In Moscow. But I want to be partner there. And he was like, no, Chris, you're 25 years old, you're too young. And you continue to work with me as an employee and no, nothing. But I'm gonna go anyway because my husband is leaving, so I'm gonna go. You realize this? Yes. So, okay, and this I gave him my resignation. I left, and I opened my own company in Moscow immediately when I arrived. So at 26, I started my own company in Moscow. I spent 4 years in Moscow, and I actually did what I promised to my program. I brought my lighting design and the standards and the French touch and all the standards, to the Moscow lighting industry. I did very, very big projects alone. I'm kind of very new because I have very big productivity. I can do stuff which normally 10 or 15 people do. And I did lots of projects. So I assembled very modular teams, for this project and do this was and then I come back to France after 4 years because my clients in Moscow were sending me back to do projects in Switzerland and in Paris.
Okay.
We're like, okay. Yes, and while I was in Moscow, so I did my lighting design and I had like lots of very big, nice projects. I also was invited and I was participating. So it was a startup for the lighting feature production, like development and production. Some guy, some millionaire, like, I want to produce lighting fixtures. So it's LED revolution, let's do it. And they found me some, I don't know how. And I was occupying the post of creative director, product executive, actually. It was more like product executive. So I created products, invented everything about the product marketing and it. And this is where I get on one of my invention, this company got 5 patents just because I went for 3 days in Milan in some convention. And I was like looking around and I come back and like, we're going to do it like this, like this, like this. And it was 5 patents. And very nice startup, huge success. They get like kilometers and kilometers of very, very successful lighting picture. But then I moved back to France. I stopped with them. And so I was moving back. And this is how we come to your question. How did I get to AI? I think.
Yeah.
And, yes. So I was doing lighting. It has been already 20 years. I'm doing lighting. I'm moving back and forth. I have clients in France and French clients in Russia. I have Russian clients in Europe and all this stuff. And I get this kind of little by little, this lots of investment for French and for European luxury houses, producing locally in Russia some lighting fixtures that can be installed because there were a lot of luxury boutiques by this time. And so I get this local production with the partners. I have my 2 children. It was comfortable for me to take my little babies in the backpack with me to Russia, stay on the construction site, while my mama is doing babysitting and I'm on the construction works. I really did a lot of heavy lifting myself, supervised everything, installation and stuff, until the first COVID came.
Okay.
Yes. And then immediately, we just started I found actually very nice business in COVID, even better. Even invested more in the local because of the complication of the import and export. The war started. I had to run, pick up my kids. They were at my mom's because of the COVID. They stayed there.
The Russia-Ukraine war.
Yes. So I pick up my kids and we get to Nice airport here in south of France. It was the last airplane landed directly from Russia in France. So how much stress I had. And actually I lost everything, 10 years of my investment into this, into European Russian business, I lost everything. And so it's 2021, 22, I don't remember. What is it? 22, I think. And I sit and what are you going to do? I guess I lost a lot of investment, lots of time and lots of effort. And actually it was already hitting me hard that the business is like any kind of business. Now, I started in 2000s. It's a revolution, LED revolution. I really I was source of this revolution. I was inventing fixtures for the luxury brand. And then after those fixtures were reproduced everywhere, 90% of the fixture exist on the market started with some kind of idea I was inventing for this or this boutique in 2003, 2005. And I had creme de la creme, I had a stable part, and then there was so maturity in the market, and you have to work more and more, and Chinese producers came and they bid cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. So we win less money for more and more effort. I was I don't think I want to do this. And anyway, I do it for more than 20 years. I want something new.
Yeah.
And I went to the French incubator for women.
Oh.
Yes, with an idea of app to fight predators.
Okay, that's a shift. Okay.
Yes, Be- because of my personal trouble history, which is all over the bridge with men, as one of my colleagues in Incubator, like, yeah, we're trying to um, recycle skirts to make new like clothes, and Olesya is recycling her exes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so what was
Yes,
your
I have
vision
been.
here?
Yes, I had a 10 years of abusive relationship with the father of my child, and I, I barely get out, and I was very fragile, and I was snapped by another predator who was even worse.
Wow.
But and I very quickly realized, and I ran away. 3 months pregnant, and. So it was like, oh my God, I was like absolutely numb and everything. And I had to concentrate on kids and surviving. I was really in survival mode. And so when I get out of all this and this like realization, I want to do something else. Like I want to create a tool which is allowing people to alert other people, because I found after that there were other women, there are other children, and all this. So, like, if I would had this information, I would not get into this trap, because absolutely, like, very, very, very kind and very positively looking guy, harmless, absolutely harmless, right? And so I had this idea, and this idea was very complicated. I get an idea how technically I can make it happen. So I was in this incubator. It went very well, but I realized it will cost so much because of the technology was not available by this time.
Okay.
And like I didn't need to put it on shelf for now. It's a very, very big project. It's for my heart. I want to do it to save women, to save people from abusers and stuff. But there is a lot of complication, and only very, very good technology can help. And I know the concept, I built the concept, but the realization was very expensive. So I put it on the shelf, and immediately when I did it, I was like, I'm gonna find some job temporarily, like product manager, stuff like this, to be in the industry, to look around. And I just started to look around, and my client, architectural company, who is in Kazakhstan, with whom we built several villas. The director is my friend. After all those years, she called me, was like, Olesya, I want to do something. I want to make a startup. And I thought of you. We never spoke about IT, never spoke about startup or anything. And she called me, like, I was thinking, like, I think you're the best one who can do this. And we started this crazy thing. So she is the investor and the main stakeholder, and her company, all this. And what we did and what we do, it's been 2 years we're in this venture. She's investing heavily, and I am CTO and product executive. We made the list of all the problems we had while we were doing construction and managing construction, not as a huge, developers, multi like Skypers and stuff. They have tools, they have teams, but as a very mobile, very entrepreneurial team. But we build houses who cost millions, but it's a family house. It's a 4,000 square meter one family house, and it's need very precise tool, very high-end execution, very good management. So we made a list of all the problems that we have during our 20 years, me 20 years in this industry. Like, let's take one by one and solve it with the applications and the product that we put on the market. So we are on the solution number 2. So the first one is the inventory application, which is a full life cycle for all the material resources, which can be used by any entrepreneurial scale business, which is service oriented, because there are solutions for the e-commerce a lot.
Yeah,
there are solutions for the big construction with the accounting and the all this person sitting on entire computer and managing all this inventory. But there's nothing for the guy which is on the road, which is team of the other team, is a team of the subcontractors. So to make all this, and we made this tool, and we made it very like gameable. So even like very boring guy, he will push this button. Yes, I get this tool. It's me who get it. You know? So, and we Asia market oriented, Middle East and Asia market oriented, because it's a huge market. There are 1.5 billion solopreneurs and middle-sized companies in the service-oriented business who don't have this kind of tool at all. Okay, right now. So, and we build it and we are marketing it, and it's a big bet. We have more than 100,000 subscribers on the waiting list.
That's amazing.
For us to just release this. And it was this first solution that was like, it's going to be the easy one. Let's make this one is just first bird. Okay.
Okay.
So it's just the first one, the easy one. So the second one, it's way more complicated, way more heavy engineered. So, and I'm behind all this, and there's an algorithm how we do that, and managing the team. And we have team in China, in India, and Europe, in Canada. So this multicultural, multidimensional team of developers and products and designers and all this, and especially the designers from the luxury brand, the luxury architecture and interior design. So this touch of designing, they're coming to the product, it's something special. So this is how I came to AI, because by doing this in the classical way with developers, and 1 year ago, I started to touch AI in terms of the product.
Only a year ago.
Yes. Well, of course, I was chatting with ChatGPT when it get out, but like 1 year ago, like, okay, let's gonna make out of it some helping tool for me because I was managing a team of more than 20 to communicate better and to make the like products. I gave them my Olesya GPT. So if they have some question about product, they could ask, and like in 85% cases, they were unlocked. And this was the big thing. And last November, there was some kind of revolution in the team, some rebellion. People were trying to get rid of me, and but thanks to our main stakeholder, she saw that it was kind of cooked very, very badly, and she said, "No, Olesya staying." But we gave them all chance, and they just like left one after another because they saw that they cannot steal this product from us. Okay. I'm not allowing, it's secure and lock and stuff. So, and they just like, and I lost 7 people in my team, developers, in 1 month. And what they're going to do? And at the same time, the new model of Claude appeared, and I started to play with it. And I was trying to cover the holes that appeared by the people disappearing from my team.
And were you able to replace 7 people by using Claude?
Yes, I replaced myself 7 people. In 3 months, I totally replaced 7 people.
Oof.
And 7 people, not just, some like developers with like, some of them were like more than 10 years experience. But I had some base, I had the code as a base, as example. And I did what the tool I have, it has made the biggest difference. I have this from my university years. Before you do anything, you build a methodology. You just like break it into the little Lego pieces. You understand how to play this game. This is how I did. I get example from there as a code. I spent maybe 1 month and a half breaking this code that I received into small pieces and understanding how does it work. Building methodology, how with this tool, with this AI tool, not listening how they do it. Like, it's impossible, it's going to take 2 months to just build a page. Oh, it's simple. I go, shut up. And I spent 3 months building methods, mostly. And once I built methods, they were absolutely shocked. Like, we built it. We have it. We have a product. what happened? How did you do it? I was like, I told you, shut up and do what I say.
Yeah.
So, and this is the habit, I think, that is the making the biggest difference. And throughout everything I did, when I get this 23 years old girl into this lighting company, they didn't have methods. It was chaotic. It was, and what I did first, I built methods. And once I built methods, they start to make profit. They get other people inside. They get more people, and I taught them method. The guy, I taught him method after Nicolas. He was moving to New York several years after me. He became technical director in the biggest wall lighting design studio in New York. Laboratoire International. They like have biggest contracts, you know. And this is the guy who I was like beating his head like this with a pen, like.
So if you had to say, like, what is something that most people are getting wrong with AI then? Would you say they're not focusing on building those methods?
I see that they don't understand what is actually this tool is. I see most of the problem is this. They don't actually understand what it is. And
what is?
Okay, the developers, the one with the history of development, they don't understand that this tool is capable to give them something what they were missing. They were coders, but they didn't understand the product. They didn't understand what the product. They didn't understand how to talk to people. How they just coded. They coded something that they can. You can see it in the big like AI convention we have in Cannes every year. I was visiting them. I work in, and there's like bunch of engineers, like dudes everywhere. We build this, because they can, not because this is something that is actually needed.
Yeah, and it's not.
And they build something because they can, and then they try to pay another dude in marketing who is like trying to shove it into the mouths of people, explain that they need this thing. Okay. And this tool for developers it's for them, most of them, they don't understand. It can help them understand how to build something what the people need, using what they know. But the people who are not developers, they see this tool. I can build it and then build that and that, but they actually don't understand what this tool is. They try to build so many apps, not understanding that there are other guys who has this knowledge, who has understanding of the methods, and whatever you build here, he can do it better. So you need to build something that he cannot. And the method, it is something that can give you this understanding and make you very, very close to this guy who actually built code for 20 years. And if you learn how to methodologize your work with AI, you can beat this guy who is doing this for 20 years, because you have this part that he doesn't. You have this human part, understanding of what you have, the empathy. He does not. He's the guy who never saw another person in his life, actually. You have the empathy. You have empathy to understand what people need and the market uses, to put yourself in the shoes of users. And if you play with this tool really seriously, just sitting and investing into understanding the methods, how to build it correctly, how actually this guy doing it.
Yeah.
Because using AI, you can learn how this guy did it, how they build the backend, how they build the servers, how they build security to build that guy. And I think this is what I want to say most of the people, because most of the tools that are published in the hackathon or anything, but we see them, they're wrappers. The wrappers that's going to be eaten and beaten immediately just by anybody. And what's also I wanted, yes, so the habit of building methods is something which is very important. one phrase I want also to understand, but what I see, maybe it's only my vision, but I share it with somebody else and they agree with me. We have a very short period of time right now, okay, before now, and this opportunity is closing, okay, and how we use this very short period of time is our choice.
Yeah.
And also we need to understand that every time we type something in Claude Code or ChatGPT or anything, yes, we're harvesting this power of tool to our advantage, but in the same time, we are feeding this beast.
Of course, yeah, we're teaching it.
We're teaching it. So it is a game, okay? It is a game who will be profiting first from this tool appearing, we or they. And the consciousness of understanding this, that each time I'm typing something inside it, it's actually getting stronger. It's something that needs to bother you, because the several months you spend on building something, they need to be valuable the way that you get to profit from it. You get to build some stage for you to get to the next level.
So to really learn from it.
You need to learn from it. You need to harvest as much as you can, and you need not to be afraid to go deeper and to get out of the comfort zone and really to get to the heavy stuff. Because yes, once you try maybe some, like discussion or co-work or something, go deeper, go to the VS Code and learn how it is. Don't be afraid to ask, give me like inventing very quick, like one big project where you can learn how to do servers, how to do security, how to do backend, how to do that and that and that, because this opportunity time is very short. And once you learn this is the decision you need to make. Either you do quick bucks now, but in 2 years, you will be off, because everybody's going to be learning exactly this in 2 years, and you don't have any additional value to it. Or you invest heavily, and then this guy will not be able to swallow you, because you can do real innovation.
No, I love that, and I know we've gone over time, and I really appreciate your time today, and honestly, this is I'm working towards 200 episodes now, and you're honestly the first person who's made that point. Like, AI is not just a tool that does, creates. It's a tool that can teach you, and to really dig in to the how and the why and the methods behind what you are having AI do and create for you. And I think that perspective is kind of a game changer for people. So I mean, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I really lean into so much your story behind this, because you wouldn't have gotten to where you are now without that background, right? So and no one else is going to have this story, because no one else had that background, right? And I that's why I'm like, wait, hold on, before we talk about your current company, like, let's talk about 8-year-old you. And that, it's kind of a joke in our club, but it's so important to learn like how you got to where you are, because everyone's story is so unique to them, and it's the only thing that'll bring them to where only what they can produce, right? Or create. Well, to wrap it up, at Gem AI, we work with small business owners, and I really focus on the human side of AI, how AI is allowing people to be more human. And I work alongside Robin Jam Anderson, and she and a bunch of other experts that she brings in really emphasize, the trainings and the learnings and the the automations and the efficiencies that you can do with AI for your small business. So knowing that that's our audience, what do you want Club Jam members to know about AI, about you, or what's possible?
For me, I already said so much. So AI can help you to become the person who can resist what is coming, but there is big changes are coming. So you can use and harvest this power to change yourself. okay, to become stronger, to become more resilient, to build this kind of personality that can change, they can handle those changes that are coming with the job forces and everything in economics and everything which is coming.
Yeah.
And so just use it, and just it is not a shame to suck out from us. You don't need to be ashamed to just take everything that you can from it, from inside, from your psychological, from your personality, into the tools. Like really, I'm teaching my 8 years boy to how to code, and how to do robotics, because if anything, if he can build and code robots, he will not be out of work. So for small businesses, think how, start with a small tool, start with a small, maybe like I can do this, automate and this and this. And the biggest change what you can do is like to do, I guess this is what for small business work very wonderful. You take the piece of paper and you write on the piece of paper what you do during the day, step by step. Now I'm reading email. Now I'm answering the calls. Now I'm doing that, and now I'm doing that. And because we do it in automation, we do it in autopilot, and to be able to really produce automation out of it, you need to put it on the piece of paper, and this is how the method starts to build. So from this piece of paper, what parts of this I can automate, what part of this I can give to machine, and then you start to just make it like a jewelry. Like I started with this little process, then I would add this micro process, and then I started this, and if you do it every day, it's a compound. And in several months, you woke up and 90% of your bullshit work is done by machine. And you can take this time to invest into the future you, because you need to be another you in 2 years. It's absolutely sure. No,
Wow. Well, also your 8-year-old is very lucky to have you as your mom. So thank you so much for sharing this. I'm going to do a follow-up with you to make sure I'm sharing the correct resources, so people can just continue to follow your incredible journey and connect with you, if this resonates. And thank you so much for sharing your story. And I hope after this call, you kind of give yourself a pat on the back and think like, wow, this story of mine is truly mine. And so thank you so much for your time today. I look forward to being in touch with you.
Thank you for this opportunity. I'm really, I'm glad that I can share it. And I really hope to inspire some young girls and women, small entrepreneurs, with those examples of women who came and asked, out of like zero to become entrepreneurs. It's possible. You can learn at any age, and you can change yourself at any age, and the tools are there and people are there to help.
I love it. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Much.
Talk soon.
Thank you. Okay, talk to you.